The mudman who loves cleanliness, picking the mud off his body one by one, just because he leaves dirty mud everywhere he goes. But the mud that is picked off soon comes back, looking at the white floor that he has made dirty. The mudman wants to wipe it clean, but the more he scrubbed, the more mud there was. The mudman looked at his hands and thought, if only he had a pair of gloves, a bucket and a rag, it would be great. A creak of white box popped out of the wall. The mudman took a big step with his toes, looked down. Inside the box were gloves, buckets and rags. This is really what comes to mind. Mudman hurriedly put on the orange gloves, take out the bucket and rag, carefully wipe up the mud on the floor. In a short time, most of the mud was wiped away, but there was still mud under his feet. The mudman could only use his feet to hold the rag, wipe the mud under his feet. Although the floor was clean, but he hied himself to the rag. Looking at his muddy feet, Mudman thought if only he had a pair of shoes. Another creak, the white box popped out of the wall again. In order not to get the floor dirty, Mudman moved forward, carefully with his feet on the rag, but he fell on the floor. When he didn't stand still, the floor was left with a puddle of mud. Looking at the dirty floor, the mudman's heart was broken. He simply ignored it and strode forward, but he didn't realize that the box contained the shoes he wanted. Mudman put the shoes on his feet. Another box popped up on the wall. Inside was a set of clean clothes. The clayman put the clothes on his body, but when he put on his pants, he put both legs into the same pair of pants. The clayman tried to pull his legs out, but again, he fell to the ground heavily. This time he also knocked over a bucket of water. Looking at the dirty floor, Mudman couldn't understand why he tried so hard, but in the end, just got worse and worse. Sitting on the floor, the mudman became more and more angry. He hated the mud he was covered with, so he wanted to ruin himself. He was so angry that he took off his shirt. He scratched the mud off his body like crazy. The mud that had been picked off was healed again. The mudman formed a ball with the mud he had picked off. He threw it against the wall. With a snap, the mud made a big hole in the wall. The curious mudman went over to the wall. I didn't realize that the other side was a different scene. There were bright colors everywhere. The mudman next door was living happier than he was. Didn't mind the mud on his body. He can also use the mud to make paintings, adding a bit of color to the world. Instead of being disgusted with his life, it is better to take the bad things in life as a small surprise in your life. Small surprises and small gains, so your life will be colorful, right?